Today is January 19th. Across much of the United States, folks are bundled in heavy coats, battling snow drifts and bracing against the biting cold. Yet, here in Los Angeles, the thermometer has soared to an astonishing 83 degrees Fahrenheit. One might be tempted to perceive this as an idyllic paradise, a fortunate respite from winter's typical grip. However, allow me to pose a question. Have you ever experienced a heat that feels profoundly out of place? A heat that carries an unsettling, almost ominous premonition? While tourists happily flock to Santa Monica Beach, eager to bask in this unseasonable sunshine, a quiet, insidious crisis is silently escalating beneath the swaying palm trees. This phenomenon transcends a mere weather anomaly. It signifies a disconcerting displacement of the seasons themselves. For the approximately 75,000 unhoused individuals residing in Los Angeles County, this seemingly beautiful day is, in fact, a perilous biological trap. History has shown that whenever the delicate rhythm of nature is disrupted, it is invariably those on the lowest rung of society who bear the brunt of the consequences first. My name is Jack, and on today's episode of Homeless US, we delve deep into the unsettling paradox of the California winter. We'll explore why the oppressive heat in January poses a far greater danger to the unhoused population than the expected winter cold. Moreover, we will examine the profound impact on the human spirit when even the most fundamental elements, like the weather, become entirely unpredictable. Part 2, the anatomy of a midwinter heat wave. To truly grasp the severe gravity of an 83-degree day in January, we need to examine the unique meteorology of the Santa Ana winds. Typically, January ushers in a period of much-needed rain and environmental recovery for Southern California. However, in 2026, a disturbing shift in atmospheric patterns has occurred. Powerful high-pressure systems hovering over the Great Basin are relentlessly driving hot, exceptionally dry air westward toward the coast, effectively transforming the region into a searing furnace. But here's a critical question for you to ponder. Do you understand why the human body experiences far greater difficulty coping with a heat wave in winter compared to summer? The explanation rests in the concept of biological acclimatization. By July, our bodies have naturally adapted and prepared themselves for intense sun exposure and high temperatures. In stark contrast, during January, our metabolism is finely tuned for much cooler ambient temperatures. When an abrupt and dramatic spike in heat occurs, the entire cardiovascular system is plunged into disarray. For an individual living in a makeshift tent on Skid Row, essential resources like air conditioning, insulation, and often even consistent access to clean, potable water are simply non-existent. While we observe the iconic palm trees swaying gently, I urge you to look more closely at the asphalt beneath your feet. Even with an air temperature of 83 degrees, the pavement itself can soar to over 110 degrees Fahrenheit. If you happen to be wearing worn-out shoes, offering minimal protection, or attempting to sleep on a thin, inadequate mat, that intense heat relentlessly radiates directly into your body. This, tragically, is the heat island effect manifesting in its most brutal and unforgiving form. Part 3, the human anchor Ricardo's story. Let's shift our focus now, moving away from the picturesque beaches and into the stark, concrete corridors of downtown LA. It was here, amidst the urban sprawl, that I encountered Ricardo. Ricardo is a resilient 62-year-old man, a former warehouse worker who, through no fault of his own, lost his housing and stability amidst the dramatic economic shifts that occurred in 2024. He was sitting on an overturned milk crate, diligently wiping beads of sweat from his brow with a frayed, tattered cloth. Ricardo was wearing no fewer than 3 layers of clothing. The reason? In the unforgiving reality of being unhoused, every possession you own must be carried with you at all times. You simply cannot change into shorts on a whim when you don't have the luxury of a closet or a home to store your belongings. Everyone is smiling because it's sunny, Ricardo confided in me, his voice noticeably raspy. Parched by the relentless dry air, but I can't breathe. The air feels like it's already been used up, stifling. Ricardo, as it turns out, suffers from hypertension. In this intense heat, his already compromised heart is forced to labor twice as January 19th. As of today, across much of the nation, people are typically found shoveling snow and shivering in heavy coats. Yet, right here in Los Angeles, the thermometer has soared to an astonishing 83 degrees Fahrenheit. One might readily perceive this as a quintessential paradise, a fortunate respite from winter's biting chill. But allow me to pose a critical question. Have you ever experienced a heat that feels inherently wrong? A warmth that resonates more as an ominous warning than a welcome embrace? While tourists undeniably flock to Santa Monica Beach, eager to bask in the glow of this utterly unseasonable sun, a silent yet profound crisis is steadily brewing beneath the iconic palm trees. This phenomenon transcends a mere weather anomaly. It represents a disturbing displacement of the natural seasons. And for the estimated 75,000 unhoused individuals across Los Angeles County, what many would call a beautiful day transforms into a merciless biological trap. When the delicate rhythm of nature is disrupted, it is, invariably, those most marginalized and vulnerable who bear the brunt of the consequences first. I'm Jack, and on today's episode of Homeless US, we're delving deep into the unsettling paradox of the California winter. Why does January's heat pose a greater threat to the unhoused than the cold? And what psychological toll does it take when even the most fundamental aspect of our environment, the weather, becomes utterly unpredictable? Part 2, the anatomy of a midwinter heat wave. To truly grasp the profound gravity of an 83-degree day in January, we must first delve into the specific meteorology of the infamous Santa Ana winds. Typically, January brings much-needed rain and a period of natural recovery to Southern California. However, in this year, 2026, the atmospheric patterns have drastically shifted. Powerful high-pressure systems currently entrenched over the Great Basin are relentlessly driving hot, desiccated air towards our coast, effectively creating a scorching furnace. But here's a crucial question for you. Do you understand precisely why the human body struggles so much more with a heat wave in winter compared to summer? The fundamental answer lies in biological acclimatization. In July, our bodies are naturally conditioned and physiologically prepared to cope with intense sun. In January, however, our metabolism is finely tuned for much cooler temperatures. When a sudden, drastic temperature spike occurs, the entire cardiovascular system is violently thrown into chaos. For someone merely trying to survive in a tent on Skid Row, there is no luxury of air conditioning, no protective insulation, and, critically, often no consistent or reliable access to clean, potable water. We might observe the palm trees swaying gently, but I urge you to look closer, down at the asphalt. At an air temperature of 83 degrees, the dark pavement can easily reach a staggering 110 degrees or even higher. If you're wearing only worn-out shoes or attempting to rest on a thin, inadequate mat, that intense, unforgiving heat is radiating directly, relentlessly into your body. This, tragically, is the heat island effect manifested in its most brutal and dehumanizing form. Part 3, the human anchor Ricardo's story. Let's momentarily step away from the allure of the beach and shift our focus to the unforgiving concrete corridors of downtown LA. It was here that I encountered Ricardo. Ricardo, a 62-year-old former warehouse worker, tragically lost his housing amidst the tumultuous economic shifts of 2024. He was perched on an upturned milk crate, diligently wiping sweat from his brow with a tattered cloth. Ricardo, remarkably, was wearing 3 layers of clothing. Why, you might ask? Because in the harsh reality of being unhoused, you must carry every single possession you own. You cannot simply change into shorts when the very concept of a closet is a distant memory. Everyone is smiling because it's sunny, Ricardo confided in me, his voice noticeably raspy. Parched by the relentless dry air, but I can't breathe. The air, it feels like it's already been used, recycled and heavy. Ricardo, I learned, suffers from hypertension. In this oppressive heat, his heart is forced to labor twice as hard, struggling desperately to cool his body. He showed me his water bottle. It was completely empty. The nearest public fountain, he explained, was a daunting 4 blocks away, and in this scorching heat, every single block feels like an interminable mile. Ricardo's poignant story compels us, truly, to confront a profound question. How have we allowed our society to evolve to a point where a seemingly beautiful day can become a critical health emergency for our fellow human beings? Our neighbors. Part 4, the deep dive, the dehydration desert. One of the most critically misunderstood aspects of homelessness in Los Angeles is what I call the dehydration desert. While one might perceive a city generously surrounded by vast ocean and sparkling swimming pools, for the unhoused, consistent access to clean, potable drinking water is an alarmingly rare and precious luxury. During a midwinter heatwave, the demand for water naturally skyrockets. Yet, precisely because it is officially winter according to the calendar, many of the city's vital seasonal cooling centers remain shuttered. Furthermore, public parks frequently disable their fountains to conserve water during dry spells. This confluence of factors creates a truly lethal gap in essential services. Dehydration extends far beyond mere thirst. It precipitates severe kidney stress, accelerates cognitive decline, and significantly increases vulnerability to substance-related health crises. When the brain is critically dehydrated, sound decision-making abilities rapidly falter. Individuals become lethargic, dispirited. They cease actively seeking crucial shade. They stop reaching out for help. Ask yourself honestly, if you were forced to choose between bus fare, to reach a distant cooling center, or a solitary meal for the entire day, which agonizing choice would you make? This is the impossible, heartbreaking math of survival on the unforgiving streets of LA. Part 5, the systemic temperature policy and neglect. Why, precisely, are we so woefully unprepared for an 83-degree day in January? The answer, I contend, is deeply rooted in pervasive bureaucratic rigidity. So-called winter shelters are indeed designed to protect people from rain, but they are frequently poorly ventilated, effectively transforming into suffocating greenhouses during a heat wave. Furthermore, the clearing of encampments continues relentlessly, regardless of the soaring temperature. When an individual's tent, their sole source of shade, is confiscated on an 83-degree day, they are brutally forced into the direct, relentless assault of UV radiation from the unforgiving California sun. There exists a profound, almost criminal disconnect between the postcard LA we often portray and the harsh pavement LA. That is the reality for so many. We witness billions being allocated for glitzy infrastructure projects for the upcoming Olympics, yet the most basic infrastructure for public hydration and shaded rest areas lies utterly crumbling. Is this truly a lack of resources, or rather, a fundamental lack of political will? When we consistently prioritize the aesthetic view over the lives of the vulnerable, we are not merely setting the stage. We are actively engineering a humanitarian disaster that no amount of glorious sunshine can ever truly conceal. Part 6, the silent threat, the nighttime heat. In the inherent desert climate of Los Angeles, we naturally anticipate temperatures to drop significantly once night falls. However, during these particular Santa Ana events, the vast concrete expanse of the city functions as a massive thermal battery. It mercilessly absorbs the 83-degree heat throughout the day, only to slowly and stubbornly release it back into the environment all through the night. For those attempting to sleep in the unforgiving Skid Row district, the temperature at midnight can still hover stubbornly in the 70s, often with virtually no airflow whatsoever. This relentless exposure leads to chronic heat stress. The human body is never afforded a chance to recover or cool down. Consequently, restorative sleep becomes an impossible dream. And as we all know, chronic sleep deprivation is a perilous gateway to severe mental health collapses and a heightened susceptibility to all manner of illnesses. I vividly recall witnessing a young woman desperately attempting to fan her infant child with a mere piece of cardboard confined within a stifling nylon tent. The temperature inside that tent was easily 10 degrees hotter than the already sweltering air outside. Have you ever truly pondered how much sustained heat a human heart can endure before it simply, tragically, gives up? We are pushing those very limits every single night in the overlooked alleys of Los Angeles. Part 7, the glimmer of resilience, the water walkers. Despite the pervasive systemic failures I've highlighted, a vibrant pulse of humanity still endures amidst this oppressive heat. I recently spent an afternoon alongside a remarkable group known as the Water Walkers, dedicated local residents who fill their vehicle trunks with abundant supplies of ice-cold water, bottles, and compassionately traverse the city's backstreets. They don't demand identification. They don't inquire about a plan for sobriety. They simply and unconditionally offer a cold bottle of water and a fleeting moment of precious shade beneath their pop-up umbrellas. I witnessed one man, who appeared not to have spoken for hours, take a sip of that cold water and subsequently burst into uncontrollable tears. It wasn't merely the physical hydration, it was the profound emotional relief that someone, finally, had acknowledged his desperate thirst, his very existence. This poignant scene brings us to a crucial, uncomfortable question. If compassionate volunteers can so readily recognize the undeniable urgency of an 83-degree January day, why, then, does the established system consistently fail to do so? While such resilience and kindness are undeniably beautiful, they should never be forced to serve as a mere substitute for a robust, functioning social safety net. These small fires of individual kindness are indeed keeping people alive, but they are utterly incapable of cooling down an entire sweltering city. Part 8, the outrow A warning from the future. The music shifts, now a reflective, slightly urgent piano melody begins to play, underscored by the distant, rhythmic sound of waves crashing, as the sun gracefully descends over the vast Pacific, painting the sky in breathtaking hues of orange and purple. The temperature finally begins its gradual dip, yet the insidious damage for countless individuals is already done. Another day of extreme heat has irrevocably eroded the health and well-being of thousands. This 83-degree day in January is emphatically not an act of God. Instead, it stands as a stark symptom of a planet dangerously out of balance and a society profoundly out of touch. If we are utterly failing to protect our most vulnerable neighbors from a mere warm day in winter, how, then, can we possibly hope to protect them when the truly brutal summer heat waves of 110 degrees and beyond inevitably arrive? Los Angeles is widely celebrated as the city of dreams, yet for those forced to live on its unforgiving sidewalks, it is a city defined by harsh, unyielding light and relentless exposure. We are compelled to ask ourselves, with profound honesty, are we truly willing to look past the idyllic imagery of the swaying palm trees? Are we willing to genuinely see the human being, the person, behind the mask of heat exhaustion? Thank you for joining me on this crucial journey for homeless US. I'm Jack. If this story has resonated with you, or if it has prompted you to think twice about what might seem like perfect winter weather, I urge you to please like this video. Your simple click helps the YouTube algorithm amplify this critical crisis, bringing it to the light it so desperately needs. Comment below, what is the current temperature where you are? And do you observe people struggling with similar challenges in your own city? And finally, subscribe. Join our growing community as we persist in documenting and uncovering the often hidden truths of the American street. While we cannot command the weather to change, we absolutely can transform how we care for one another. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and above all, remain compassionately connected. Until next time, this